When I first heard the story and they claimed that this kid rang the doorbell and you shot him, I'm like, that makes no sense at all.
Oh, and I got the quote, Joel, that you were mentioning earlier from Joe Biden. This is from 2013. Joe told Field and Stream magazine, quote, "If you want to keep someone away from your house," Joe Biden said, "just fire the shotgun through the door."
I hate him so much. He is so stupid.
This guy should cite that in his defense.
Yeah.
I hope his lawyers use it and say, look, Joe Biden said. But, look, the reality is the left right now is saying he rang the doorbell and the guy shot him through the door. And it's like, well, where do you get that account from? Where did that statement come from? I got to be honest. It didn't come from the kid who was in the hospital unconscious because he was shot in the head.
It came from
It came from the homeowner.
I heard
and
it,
they
bro.
then twisted his words. They omitted the part where he said, "I saw this, this young man grabbing the door to open it and enter my property."
The kid thought he was going to his friend's house.
And that sucks, man.
But he wouldn't go to the wrong friend's house. He was going somewhere.
He was picking up his little brothers.
Jeez.
Now, here's the issue. If this guy does get convicted, I will tell you what's going to happen. Every single burglary and home invasion is going to be a oops, wrong house. Every single one.
I don't think he should get convicted for this because the guy was illegally attempting to enter his property.
That's right, he was.
Neither of them should get in trouble for
I
this.
wonder if there will be like riots and stuff like that.
There are already protests.
Yeah, protests, but I wonder if there'll be like riots and stuff.
Definitely.
There was a much clearer.
They're rioting
case.
for nothing in Chicago right now.
It's getting to that time of year, man.
A few
riot
years ago,
season.
You guys remember the Ahmaud Arbery case where the jogger
Of
was
course.
shot? Yeah.
Excuse me.
Jogger.
The felony burglary suspect, you mean? I'm not. That's not a joke. That's a fact.
The controversy there was a lot lower. There weren't protests right away, and there was more of a consensus that what happened to him shouldn't have happened. That he was chased down. And I thought that what happened there was interesting because the family attorney didn't take the road of encouraging protests. They went to law enforcement. They worked with law enforcement. They didn't try to make a big national issue out of it. And that attorney interestingly went to the Trump White House and worked with Trump on some of the criminal justice issues and that kind of thing. And it wasn't, rightly or wrongly, whatever you think of the verdict, it wasn't a case that divided Americans. It wasn't a case that was used by the movement, even though the Black Lives Matter movement existed. It didn't become this divisive issue.
But that's because conservatives are feckless. That story was clear cut wrong. And it was funny that after the Kyle Rittenhouse case, you got a bunch of conservatives coming out being like, see, the Ahmaud Arbery case proves that conservatives aren't racist, despite the fact they knew nothing about the case. The dude wasn't a jogger. The prosecution and the defense never claimed he was jogging. And the argument actually was that, well, most people believed he was the guy on camera breaking into those homes. And so the story, the criminal case became, did the McMichaels have the legal right to commit a citizen's arrest? And the question to the jury was, do they need to be witnesses to the crime or not? And the jury decided you must be a witness. Therefore, the citizen's arrest was unlawful. Therefore, the death resulting from citizen's arrest is criminal. The fact that the guy who simply filmed it got the rest of his life in prison proves that it was a complete sham of a trial and a criminal case. But the fact that it didn't divide the nation, to me, just proves that conservatives give up really easily, or that they take their points whenever they can, and they're not actually in this for the real long haul.
I think a lot of the media knowledge about that case wasn't unveiled for me until after it was over. I didn't really learn about the intricacies until after McMichaels was in jail, unfortunately.
Right. And that's the issue. Conservatives didn't pay attention, did not care.
It wasn't broadcast on.
It was live. Yeah, you could watch the trial live.
What I mean is, it wasn't covered at great length by the media, right or left, the way that like the Rittenhouse trial was covered.
It was like in a quiet neighborhood. It happened. It wasn't.
I'm sorry, you guys are. It's not true. As CBS, ABC, they were running the show live.
It was covered as extensively,
and the right ignored the whole thing. And then once these guys got convicted, a bunch of conservatives were like, "See, it was the right call." And like I think even Tulsi Gabbard came out and was like praising the conviction, and I'm like, something doesn't seem right about this. Like, why did all of these people just come out and immediately side against these guys without knowing anything that happened? I'm not saying what they did was a good thing. They were told by the police not to pursue Ahmaud Arbery. But this idea that when the Black Lives Matter activists claimed a guy was jogging and was hunted down by white supremacists and lynched was a complete and total lie. And I'll say it. You can throw away all the facts of that case and just say this. A guy got in his car saw the McMichaels driving their car to chase after him, so he picked up his phone and filmed it. They put that man in prison for the rest of his life.
I cannot even believe that guy went to jail.
And they did it because, in my opinion, he embarrassed them. And here's what I think happened. The story died. Ahmaud Arbery dies. And the McMichaels say self-defense. The police say, okay, this guy was the felony burglary suspect. These guys did live there. That's what they assume happened. The guy driving his car apparently was tired of getting crapped all over because they were saying that they chased him down or whatever. So he goes, I've got the video and I'm going to release it. So I think what happened was his lawyer gave it to a radio host who then put it online, which ignited Black Lives Matter anger. I think then the DA said, you stupid mother, I'm going to make you pay for doing this to me.
What's that guy's name?
God, I
you know
hope
that guy's
not.
name?
Brian something. You can look it up. I forgot his name. I think they did this because they were punishing this guy for smearing them in the national headlines, and it was just corruption. But there you go. I mean, even to this, still to this day, they call that guy a jogger. It's like, oh yeah, 20 miles from his house, you know, in a neighborhood that's seeing a string of burglaries. And there's video footage from one of the houses that was broken into, which appears to show Ahmaud Arbery illegally entering, burglarizing the house. And then the media narrative is he was jogging. So, you know.
William Bryan,
Was that his name?
52, accused of joining Gregory McMichael, as they chased down Arbery.
He wasn't with them. He simply got in his car and started filming. And they said, you know what? We're going to put you in prison for the rest of your life for filming this. That's a lesson to everybody.
Roddy Bryan.
Yep.
Roddy's his nickname.
And it's funny when like you look at their faces in the trial when they're found guilty, they're like shocked. How could this have happened? And that dude, if he just did not release the footage, it was self-defense.